You know, there's one person we haven't spoken about for a little while on this channel. That is, of course, Angela Rayner, most commonly known as the Growler in public circles. We know the history. She was out on her ear roll over a couple of matters, should we say, and you know full well she's hovering around in the background. Well, it turns out there's a little bit of news on the Angela Rayner front, and I want to play this video to you here with a little excerpt of what's going on. And also, a little bit later on in the video, there's something a little bit juicy, which shows how two-faced these people really are. So stay tuned for this. I've taken on board as well some of the comments you've made about the audio quality of some of these playbacks, and I've made a slight adjustment, which I'm going to implement now. So we'll see if that improves things. Let me know in the comments.
Hearing, and I've heard this from 3 different fairly credible sources. I say fairly, as credible as anyone in Westminster ever is, and they're telling me that Angela Rayner and Wes Streeting both have 80 names in their hand who would back them to be leaders. That 80 names they can rely on, and they're the 80 nominations that they would need to stand to be leader. But they won't want to do it as a contest. They won't want to challenge Starmer because it looks bad, right? They'll want to wait and see if he goes of his own volition, which could either happen before 6 p.m. tonight if he doesn't want to face the PLP, or more likely, I think he will go to the PLP tonight, the Parliamentary Labour Party. He'll face all of them MPs and he'll say, this is the way I want to move forward. What do you think? And we'll see what they say.
Yeah. Now, there's one thing that you've got to take out of this. 80 names, that's obviously how many supporters one needs to mount a challenge for the Labour leadership. Where's Streeting? Not a bit of me. There's more information coming out all the time regarding the whole, you know, thing that we've been discussing on the channel over the last few days. Well, better part of a week now. Angela Rayner, doesn't she have a few sizable skeletons in her closet? And you can tell the timing of this as well. We're not going to do it now. We're going to wait. So it could be, if Starmer doesn't end up out on his arse double quick time, there could be a situation a little bit later on down the line with these elections, which are predictably going to be a complete disaster. And then they'll get him. So one way or another, he is toast.
We understand, though, there's some issues there, though. Angela Rayner's still got the HMRC investigation. Yeah. We're told that could stand in the way. Wes Streeting has a problem. He's 12 years old. That could stand in the way. So you've then got... Sorry, the only gag I can say...
How old do you think he looks? 12 years old. That did make me chuckle the first time I went through this video, I must say.
About Wes, really. You've got Ed Miliband, of course, who was once leader and didn't win an election. That could stand in the way. But then, of course, there's others that are not getting mentioned that could come forward.
Yeah, Yvette Cooper will definitely want to have another run.
I think so.
As she always does.
Yeah.
Shabana Mahmood, who thinks she's ingratiated herself with the right of British politics when they're just laughing at her. And I don't, at the end of the day, I don't see any other talent in the Labour Party that could reckon with the populist tides that we're seeing, that could communicate with the country in a cohesive way, other than Angela Rayner. I do think Angie would be the best bet.
I was going to...
Ed Miliband, you remember that giant stone? It looked like he'd nicked a piece of slab off the Stonehenge and wrote a load of old bollocks on it. I think it was the Labour pledge at the time. Absolutely ridiculous. It really was. Shabana Mahmood, absolute no. You know, from an English constitution point of view, just she shouldn't even be an MP, and she's not the only one. They call this talent. And Yvette Cooper, like Keir Starmer, I will never forgive her for saying what she said during the Brexit referendum. And then, like Keir Starmer and others, doing everything within their power since to put a stop to it. And she's part of a socialist government that's going to try and pull us back in kicking and screaming. It's not on. So if all we're left with is Angela Rayner, then God help us. Now, it's very important at this stage to realise that she's got the name she needs. She's got the name she needs. So hold that in your head and let's go forward.
I was going to ask you who you thought that might be.
Yeah,
because, you know,
for me, it's Angela. It's not Wes. I mean, it's never been Wes for me, to be honest. But at the same time, still, he is a continuation of the same kind of Starmer, you know, very polished, very presentable, all of that nonsense, right? It's got to go out the window. You're going to lose. We're gonna have our Trump moment here with Farage in the UK if the Labour Party don't get their stuff together. Because the likes of Polanski and the Greens, great. Look, I like what he says. I just don't believe that they can win in the areas where Labour can. So right now it's all up for grabs. But listen, the egos come before everything else. So everybody will be thinking, could it be me? You know, you'll have junior Labour MPs who've been in like a year ago ringing their wife and saying, oh, you know, it could be me. I think I could go for it. You know, like this always happens. But
imagine our life would change. It would be
exactly,
but I kind of, you know, if I was advising the left right now, and I imagine you might even agree with this, James, I would be, you know, I'd have my eye on those kind of floating voters who were flirting with the Green Party, even the odd Lib Dem. They are apparently still going, so I'd be looking for some of them, and certainly the Corbyn contingent and others. I would take Labour to the left. I would promise either overtly or tacitly to rejoin the European Union. I would go in all of those directions and be, you know, there's no point in chasing Nigel Farage and reform. That was always a silly thing for Mr. Starmer to try and do. I'd say, no, we're a left-wing party, which is why I love Jeremy Corbyn so much, because he was an unapologetic left-winger. He never changed it since I was a kid watching that guy in Parliament. He said the same things then as he says now. So if you're a left-wing party, be a proud left-wing party.
I completely agree. And the thing about Jeremy Corbyn, he's a communist, and he'll openly admit as such. That is where his politics lie. And if a Labour Party got in with him as PM, it would have been a complete and utter disaster for this entire country, even though he tried his best to sell it. But one thing that we have a problem with is we no longer have left or right. This is this whole thing about moving to the centre ground of politics. Even the new people trying to get in, the reforms, the advances and all the rest of it, I wonder what they think of it. All reform are going straight for the centre ground. That's where you win votes. It's the Blairite way of doing things. We need a clear choice, left or right. It's that simple. But then you could expand it and say, well, left and right, is that really the case anymore? Nah, I don't think so. I really don't think so. Anyway, let's carry on.
100%, Ian. Like, plurality is the basis of our democracy, right? Us having different opinions, you having someone to vote for who represents you, and me having someone to vote for who represents me, whether we disagree with each other or not. That's the importance. And Labour getting away from what it's meant to be. Same with the Democrats in the US. The Democrats trying to be something they're not. All of these things, blurred lines, made everyone lose faith in all of the politicians. And then all you end up with is that fringe groups gain traction and get support. But we feel like we're losing kind of control of everything. So I think Labour need to, you know, of course I would say that shift to the left, but even just hear them stand on their values and say, rather than parroting Nigel Farage, he's got that locked down. If you want to take the messages of Nigel Farage, he has that locked down, right? You would vote for him. You're not going to vote for the ones pretending to be him.
Yeah, spot on. James, great to have you on. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day. I know you're busy on the media circuit, as it were.
What you've heard there, effectively, is a situation where the wolves are swooping around. It's going to be Angela Rayner, Wes Streeting. They both apparently have the relevant number of names to back them in a leadership challenge. And out of the two of them, you can see very much that the popular opinion seems to be Angela Rayner. although you could imagine a disaster right now, couldn't you? Well, while there's names, and while we've talked about names, this is where the real doozy comes in, and this is where it demonstrates what two-faced, backstabbing charlatans a whole lot of them are. I want to play another piece of video for you now. And this is taken later on in that same video that we've just been watching together. So get a load of this.
Breaking news. This is quite funny. All connected to this. Former Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner has given Sir Keir Starmer her full support in remaining PM, urging MPs to come together as a team. Do you want me to read that again? I think I should. Angela Rayner, who we are told, and this could just be rumour, as our last guest said, already has the support of at least 80 MPs to challenge Keir Starmer. She has given a statement saying Keir Starmer has her full support, literally, I'm directly quoting there, full support in remaining Prime Minister, urging MPs to come together as a team. Now, one of two things are going on there. She's either A, lying her socks off, or B, hoping that if Starmer does survive this, she'll have another senior job in the cabinet. My smart money, I think, is on A. She has recently tweeted this. The recent scandal around Peter Mandelson and Jeffrey Epstein was shocking and demands that both government and our party learn the lessons and act on them. She said, but the worst possible response will be to play party politics or factional games. Labour is only getting started on changing things for the better. Our Employment Rights Act, renters' rights, leasehold reform, free school meals and lifting kids out of poverty. They can't stop saying that. I urge all my colleagues, she says, to come together, remember our values and put them into practice as a team. The Prime Minister has my full support in leading us to that end. And that's what she's tweeted in the last hour or so. So that's
where we're at. Now, what you've got to remember, a couple of days ago, it came out in the news that Starmer turned around to his cabinet and basically said, if you don't support me, I'll call a general election and you'll all lose your seats. So a scorched earth type policy. So in the background, it's, oh, yes, let's get the seats. Let's get him out of there. But publicly, I support him. I wouldn't trust any of them to run a bath. This is career politics playing out right here in front of everybody's eyes for all to see. And you vote for this? You really vote for this? Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share my stuff, and I'll talk to you soon. Toodaloo.